Sarah floated above the blue planet, watching from a hidden place high in the sky. Her ship was quiet, cold, just like her. She had no warm feelings, no love, no fear, no pain. She was Vayari. Her people did not feel things the way humans did. They thought with clear minds, never letting emotion get in the way. They believed that love was weakness, that sadness made you slow, that joy could trick you into making bad choices. The Vayari were old, very old. They had seen many stars die. They had watched hundreds of planets form and break apart. They knew everything there was to know about space. Or so they thought. Zira had been sent here to study Earth. A new team of Vayari scientists had noticed something strange. Humans kept doing things that did not make sense. They helped others even when it hurt them. They gave up food, sleep, even safety, for people they barely knew. Worst of all, they chose to stay close to others, even when those others made them suffer. This confused the Vayari. Why would someone stay with another who made them cry? Why would someone risk their life to save a stranger? It was illogical, so Zyra was chosen to watch. She was young for a Vayari, but smart, fast, good at staying unseen. She had studied many species before this, and none of them had surprised her. They all acted like they should. They ran from danger. They fought for survival. They cared only for themselves and their own kind. But humans were different. Zira watched them from her ship, which was hidden by a special field. No human could see it. She looked down at cities full of lights and noise. She saw people walking on streets, talking, laughing, crying. Some held hands. Others shouted. Some smiled while they were alone. Others sat quietly and looked sad. She read their words. She listened to their voices. She tried to understand what drove them. One day she focused on a woman sitting alone in a small apartment. The room was messy. The fridge was almost empty. The woman had not eaten much in 2 days. Still, she smiled as she typed messages to friends far away. She wrote things like, "I miss you and hope you're okay." Zira tilted her head. "Why?" she asked the silence. No one answered. Another time, she watched a man run into a burning building to pull out a child he did not know. He got burned badly. He stayed in a hospital for weeks. When he woke up, he said only, "I couldn't let her die." Illogical, Zira whispered. And yet, she could not look away. She began to watch more. Every day she found new moments that made no sense. A boy gave his lunch to a hungry dog. An old man played piano for free outside a hospital so patients could hear music. A girl cried when her friend moved away, even though she knew they would talk again. Zira felt nothing, but she wanted to know more. Her orders were clear: observe, record, report. Do not interact, do not touch, do not speak. But sometimes, she wondered what it would be like to go down there, to walk among them, to ask them why they did the things they did. She pushed the thought away. Feelings are weak, she told herself. But deep inside, a small question stayed. What if they are not? Zira was still watching when it happened. A strange noise filled her ship. Low at first like a whisper, then louder like a scream. Red lights flashed. Her screen showed numbers jumping up and down. Something was wrong. She tried to fix it. Her fingers moved fast over the controls, but the systems were not listening. The ship shook hard. She held on as the floor tilted under her feet. The ship was falling. Zira had never felt fear before. Vayari did not feel fear. But now, something cold touched her chest. She could not name it, but it made her breath short and her thoughts sharp. Outside the window, the blue planet grew bigger. Fast. Then everything went dark. When she woke up, the ship was broken. Smoke came from many places. The lights were off. The silence was thick. Zira stood slowly. Her body hurt, but not too bad. She looked around. The control panel was cracked. The power was gone. The comms were dead. She was stuck. She checked the air. It was safe to breathe. She stepped outside. Trees. Tall trees, so many of them. They blocked the sky. Birds flew between them. The wind made soft sounds. The ground was wet under her feet. She looked up. The sky was gray. Clouds moved slow. No stars. No home. She was alone. Zira tried to think. She had tools in her suit. She could fix the ship. But it would take time, maybe weeks, maybe months, and she could not stay here long. If any humans found her, it would break the rules. So she turned on her disguise field. A soft hum filled the air. Her skin changed color. Her shape became more like a human's. Soon, she looked like one of them. Now she could move without being seen. She walked for hours. The forest was big. She followed a small road. After some time, she saw lights far away. Houses, cars, people, a town. She stayed hidden as she watched. Humans walked on sidewalks. Some talked loudly. Some sat on chairs and smoked. Dogs barked. Music played from open windows. Zira kept moving. She needed food, shelter, parts to fix her ship. As night fell, she came into the edge of town. She saw a small building with tools and machines. Next to it was a house with a broken light above the door. Inside the building, a man worked alone. He was tall, with tired eyes and hands that knew how to fix things. His name was Luke. He wore old clothes and a cap with a logo Zira did not know. He looked up when she knocked on the door. "Hello?" he said. Zira stepped inside. She had read many human voices. She picked one that sounded calm. "I need help," she said. Luke looked at her. "You okay? You look lost." She did not know what to say. She could not tell him the truth. "My car broke down," she said. It was the first thing she thought of. "Where are you headed?" "Nowhere," she wanted to say. But she smiled instead. He gave her a bottle of water. Asked where she was staying. She said she didn't know. "Well," he said, "you can sleep in the garage for tonight. I've got a couch back there." She nodded. That night she lay on the couch and listened to the quiet. The house creaked sometimes. A dog barked far away. It was not silent like space. It was full of life. She looked at the ceiling and thought about Luke. He had no reason to help her, but he did. Why? She closed her eyes. For the first time, she did not want to leave. Zira stayed longer than she meant to. The garage was warm at night. The couch was stiff but not uncomfortable. Luke left her alone most of the time. He brought her food without asking why she didn't talk much. He gave her space like he knew she needed it. But he also talked to her. Not too much. Just enough. He told her about his dog Max, who liked to bark at nothing. He said he used to be married, but not anymore. He didn't say why. Zira did not ask. She watched him work. He fixed old cars with dirty hands and quiet thoughts. Sometimes he hummed while he worked. Sometimes he just stared at the sky. Zira tried to understand him. One day she asked, "Why do you help me?" Luke looked up from under the hood of a car. He wiped his hands on a rag. "Because you need help," he said. "But I am a stranger." "Doesn't matter," he said. "You seem okay. That's enough for me." Zira had no answer. As days passed, she started helping him. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She held tools when he asked. She cleaned parts. Once, she fixed a broken light with a small tool from her suit. He didn't notice. They sat outside some nights. The air was cool. The stars were far away. Zira looked up and felt something strange. Loneliness. It was not hers. Or maybe it was. She could not tell. "Do you miss being married?" she asked one night. Luke was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Yeah, sometimes. Even when it was hard, I miss having someone to talk to. Someone who knows you." Zira did not know what to say. "Was it worth it?" she asked. "Being married?" "Yeah. Even though it ended bad, it was worth it." "Why?" He smiled a little. "Because love isn't perfect. It's messy. It hurts. But it's real, and that matters. Zira did not understand, but she remembered his words. Later that week, she went into town with him. He drove an old truck that made loud noises. They went to a store where people bought food and drinks. Inside, Luke talked to others. He knew the shop owner. He asked how her daughter was doing. He smiled when a small boy handed him a flower. Zira followed quietly. She saw how people looked at him, not with fear, not with hate, with kindness. When they left, she asked, "Why are they nice to you?" He laughed, "Because I'm nice to them." Again, she had no answer. Back at the garage, she sat on the couch and thought. Her people believed humans were weak, that their feelings made them slow, that they could not think clearly. But Zira saw something else. Humans were not weak. They were soft. And sometimes softness was strong. That night she dreamed. In her dream, she was back on her ship, floating in silence, alone. She woke up with a tight chest. She had never felt this before. Not fear, not pain. Something else. Something new. The next morning, Luke found her looking out at the trees. "You okay?" he asked. She looked at him. For the first time, she saw more than a human. She saw a person, a lonely one, like her. "I think," she said slowly, "I think I want to feel." He raised an eyebrow. "Feel what?" "What you feel." He smiled. "Well, that's easy. Just let yourself." She tried. She let herself smile. She let herself laugh when Max jumped on her lap. She let herself sit close to Luke and not pull away. And slowly, something changed inside her. She was still Vayari, but now, she was something else too. Someone new. Someone learning to feel. Someone starting to care. And for the first time in her life, she did not want to leave. Zira was beginning to feel more than she ever had before. Each day with Luke brought something new. A laugh, a touch on the shoulder, a warm meal shared in silence. These small things filled her with something she could not name. But then came the voice from the sky. It was late at night when the sound reached her, soft at first like wind through trees, then louder, clearer. "Zira," the voice said. "This is command. Your location has been detected. Prepare for retrieval." Her heart did not beat fast. Vayari did not have hearts that raced like humans, but inside her chest something tightened. Fear? Sadness? She did not know. The signal came from her people, the Vayari. They had found her. She stood up slowly from the couch in the garage. Luke was asleep in his room. Max snored near the door. Zira stepped outside. The sky was dark, full of stars. Stars she had once called home. "Zira," the voice said again, "you are ordered to return immediately. Do not delay. You have broken protocol. Contact has been made. Memories must be erased. Leave the planet at once." Zira looked back at the house. At Luke. He had shown her kindness without asking for anything in return. He had smiled when he had no reason to. He had let her stay, even though he did not know who she really was. And now, she was told to leave, him behind, to erase all of it, to go back to silence, back to cold logic, back to being nothing. She closed her eyes. For the first time, she felt something deep. A choice. "No," she whispered into the comms. There was a pause. Then, "Zira, that is an act of defiance. Do not resist. I am not going back," she said. "Zira, you will be exiled. You will be removed from the records. You will no longer be Vayari." She looked at the house again, at the life she had found. "Then I am not Vayari anymore," she said. The line went silent. Zira turned off the device. She would not hear them again. But now there was another problem. Luke. How could she tell him what she was? How could she ask him to accept something so strange, The next morning, he woke up and found her quiet. "You okay?" he asked. She looked at him. "I need to show you something," she said. He nodded. They walked into the woods behind the garage, far from any houses, far from anyone who might see. Zira stood still. She turned off her disguise field. A hum filled the air. Her skin changed. Her shape grew taller. Her eyes became brighter. Her form shifted into what she truly was, not human, but something older, something from the stars. Luke took a step back, but he did not run. He looked at her, just looked. Then he said, "So, you're not from around here, huh?" Zira blinked. "You are not afraid?" she asked. He shook his head. "Should I be? Most would be. Well, I'm not most people." Zira looked at him. She saw no fear in his face, only surprise, and maybe understanding. "I was sent to watch humans," she said. "My people think you are weak, illogical, too full of feeling." Luke crossed his arms. "And what do you think?" Zira paused. Then she said, "I think you are stronger than we believed, and kinder, and more real." He smiled a little. "Well, that's good to hear." Zira stepped closer. "I was told to leave, to forget this place, to forget you." His smile faded. "But I do not want to go," she said. Luke looked down. Then he said, "Zira, you belong out there, among the stars. Not here. Not with me." She shook her head. "I used to think that, but now I know. Belonging is not about where you come from. It is about where you choose to stay." He looked at her, and for the first time she reached out, not with her hands, with her heart, something she was only just learning to use. "I want to stay," she said. Luke didn't answer right away, but he didn't say no, and that was enough. For now, the sky above them changed. Zira saw it first. A dark shape moved through the clouds. Not a bird, not a plane. Something bigger. Something that did not belong to Earth. A ship. Vevari. They had come for her. She felt the cold return to her chest, not from fear, but from knowing what was coming. Luke looked up too. He didn't say anything at first. Just watched as the ship lowered slowly, like a shadow falling from the stars. "They found you," he said. Zira nodded. "Are you going with them?" She wanted to say no right away, but the word stuck in her throat. The ship landed not far from where they stood. Silent, sleek, deadly. A voice came from it. Loud, clear, and cold. "Zira, you have broken the law. You have revealed yourself. You have chosen to stay among the weak. Return now or be cast out forever." Luke turned to her. "You don't have to listen," he said. "You can run." Zira shook her head. "There is nowhere to run. They will find me. Always." He looked down. Then he asked, "What do you want?" She looked at him, really looked. This man. This quiet, kind man who fixed broken things and gave food to stray animals. Who smiled even when he was sad. Who had opened his life to her without asking for anything in return. He had taught her how to feel. And now she had to choose between the stars and him, between her people and love. She walked toward the ship. Luke followed, slow but sure. The side of the ship opened. A tall figure stepped out, not quite human. Tall, pale, eyes like glass. Her commander. "Zira," he said, "return to your place. Forget this world. Erase all memory of what has happened." She stood still. Then she said, "No." The commander's face did not change, but his voice grew colder. "You know what this means." "Yes," she said. "You will be erased from our records. You will never return home. You will live among these beings knowing you are not one of them." "Yes." Luke took a step closer. "Zira," he said softly, "you don't have to do this. but she turned to him and smiled. "I want to," she said. The commander looked at Luke, then back at Zira. "Then you are no longer Vayari?" He stepped back into the ship. The door closed, and just like that, the ship lifted off. Faster than the eye could follow. Soon, it was gone. Only the wind remained. Zira stood still. Luke beside her. For a long time, neither spoke. Then she said, "I have no home now." He looked at her. "You've got mine," he said. She looked surprised. He smiled. "If you want it." Zira felt something warm inside, something new. Hope. But there was still a problem. Her ship, the one she had crashed in, it was still hidden in the woods. And if the Vayari ever came back, they might find it. And if they found it, they would come for her again. So she made another choice. That night she went back to the crash site. The ship was broken, half buried in the ground. Wires stuck out. Lights flickered. She placed her hand on the control panel. With a few quick moves, she shut it down for good. Disabled the systems. Wiped the data. Locked it so no one could use it again. As she stepped back, she whispered, "Goodbye." Not just to the ship. To everything she had been before. When she returned to the garage, Luke was waiting. "Done?" he asked. She nodded. He handed her a cup of coffee. "Well," he said, "welcome to Earth." Zira took the cup. It was hot. It smelled strong. She sipped it. It was bitter, but she liked it, because it was real. And now, so was she. Days turned into weeks. Sarah still didn't know everything about being human. She still moved a little too smoothly. Spoke a little too slowly. Sometimes, she forgot to blink when she was thinking. But she was learning. Luke helped her with almost everything. He taught her how to cook, even though she burned more than she made. He showed her how to drive, even though she scared him a few times by going too fast. He took her to small stores and introduced her to people who smiled and asked how she was doing. She didn't understand why they cared, but she liked it. The town slowly accepted her as one of their own. She got a job at the garage, helping Luke fix cars, not because she needed money, but because she wanted to be near him, and each day she felt more like she belonged. One night they sat outside under the stars. Max lay between them, snoring softly. Zira looked up. "Do you miss it?" Luke asked. "Miss what?" "Space. Your home." Zira thought for a long time. Then she said, "Yes, sometimes. But I do not want to go back." Luke nodded. "I get that." She turned to him. "Do you miss your old life?" He smiled a little. "Not really. I mean, some parts were good, but most of it didn't feel like this." "Like what?" "Like this," he said, motioning between them. "Like having someone." Zira looked at him. For the first time since she came to Earth, she realized something. She wasn't alone anymore. Weeks passed, then months. Zira grew better at being human. She laughed more. Cried once when she watched a sad movie Luke had on an old DVD. She didn't like crying. It made her feel weak, but Luke just hugged her and said it was okay. She stayed close to him, always. Some nights they didn't talk at all. They just sat together watching the sky. One night Zira asked, "Do you think we are strange?" "Strange how?" "You are human. I am not. Yet here we are." Luke smiled. "People love in all kinds of ways. Doesn't matter where you're from, only that you care." Zira looked at him. She did care. More than she ever thought possible. One morning, Luke woke up and found Zira standing in the kitchen. She was trying to make pancakes again. They looked burnt, but she was smiling. He stood behind her and put his arms around her. She leaned back against him. They stood like that for a while. "You're really staying, huh?" he asked. "Yes," she said, "I am." He kissed the top of her head. "Good," he said. Zira closed her eyes. This was not what she had expected when she came to Earth. She had come to study humans. Instead, she had become something new, something more. She had learned that love was not perfect, that sadness was real, that joy could come from the smallest things, and that being alone was not the same as being lonely, because now, she was with someone. And that made all the difference. One night, she looked up at the stars again, the same stars she had come from, the same stars she would never return to. And she whispered, soft and quiet, "I think I understand now." She smiled. Love isn't perfect, and neither are we.